Hey, everybody. This is our last call in June. So we're making it really special with our second phenomenal interview by somebody who has been really benefiting from 2B Mindset and our Thrive community. And we're really excited to hear her story. And her coach, Ayala, from our group is going to be leading the call. So thank you so much for participating. And remember, you have 7 days to listen and use the information in this call before it disappears. So make sure that you watch it and rewatch it on the recording for the next 7 days. It's going to be amazing. Take it away, Ayala.
Okay, hey guys, how are you? Hope everyone had a good Sunday. Those of you in the States that are still having a Sunday, hope you enjoy it. I asked the wonderful Seema, say hi, to join us and share with us tonight. Seema, what I love about Seema's story, like a bunch of people have, is some people randomly came across 2B Mindset. They saw it somewhere, whatever, they thought, oh, this sounds good. They purchased it, they started it, and by the grace of God, and sometimes our paths cross, or somebody, or Lily, or any of the other coaches, and they're like, oh, so you also do 2B, I've been doing it on my own. And then just this beautiful synergy happens where even though they had started watching the videos and were following 2B, join our amazing community, and then things just really start moving or really start changing. And there is magic in our community. And I think the most important part about it is our outlook and how we take this and what we keep on saying. And Alana will say it over and over and over again, how it's called 2B Mindset. It's not called the 2B diet. It's not called the 2B program. Okay, it's not called the new and improved anything. It's called 2B Mindset, and that is the magic behind the program. So everything involved in it, the mindset, the community is then part of it, because that is why we are constantly talking about the mindset aspect. Yes, you know, we always talk about weight loss is about nutrition, but sometimes it's not even about weight loss. What's the jargon of relationship with food? Some people aren't, it's not necessarily about the weight loss. Sometimes it's about gaining weight. Sometimes it's just about when you fear food. Sometimes it's about when you don't want to eat. There's so much involved, and that's where the connection of the mindset does come in. And I asked Seema to speak tonight as somebody who was first doing 2B on her own and then joining our community, and what the changes in that were. You know, and where she saw changes in how effective 2B Mindset was both before and after, and how that then has continued to, you know, have effect as the journey goes on. As we always say, there's no end date. It doesn't mean then all of a sudden, wow, I figured it out and I'm fixed, right? There's always going to be something else that happens in life. And so that's why so much of it is not a do this, don't do this kind of diet, and it is the mindset way of looking at things, so that you can constantly deal with life's challenges and things that come up that you don't anticipate or that might be different. So I'm going to now hand it over to Seema, who I know has some wonderful things to share with us. Seema has lost, just so you know, 20 pounds using the 2B Mindset, and is now at her lowest weight ever as an adult. Unexpected, like so many people I've heard, you know, say that. Like, this is newfound territory. Lily, me for sure. Also, I know many other people that even when they started. So I cannot wait to hear from Seema. Start collecting your ideas or even questions. We will definitely be able to open things up for questions or ideas or thoughts that anybody has after that. So Seema, take it away.
I'm a little nervous, but I guess I'll just give you a little background, and then I guess you'll like guide me further. But basically, I am on 2B, and I'm also currently finishing up bar blend. Today I start my 8th week. Very excited. And I think it's funny when she mentions Jane Fonda, because Jane Fonda to me is my, brings me back to my childhood. I remember trying to do the Jane Fonda videos with my mom. My mom was also a Weight Watcher, on Weight Watchers. She hit Lifetime numerous. And do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. She hit she's Lifetime. She still does Weight Watchers today. And that's like my like my basic understanding of diet and exercise, I guess. My own personal journey, I guess, would start with my lack of nutrition awareness. I never really had guidelines, and I just kind of ate whatever, whenever. And I also had a really bad body image very young, not realizing then how bad it was until now. And somebody's whispering there, I don't know. I remember being like 12, walking down the street, or just in general, seeing people and looking at somebody who was really large or somebody who was really small. And I remember thinking, like, do I look like her or do I look like her? Never really seeing myself for what I looked like. I never was able to look in the mirror and see me. I just saw how I was compared to other people, I guess. And when I was in ninth grade, I think I started Tai Bo. That was like my first fitness. I guess that was my first like the beginning of my fitness journey. I was very into it, and I got other people very into it also. And then I think my first diet was when I was a senior, just because I don't know, my friends were. I'm not sure. I never really thought about dieting. It was just something that people do, and I did Slim Fast, and I remember losing 10 pounds and feeling accomplished. And the weight that I got to then in that accomplished, I feel like that's my accomplished weight. So that later became my goal, and that is still my goal. Not anymore, because now I'm below that. But I went to seminary and I gained lots of weight, and then I got married and like just kind of stayed at a higher weight than that accomplished goal weight that I had. I had a baby and went way up, and then I came back down to my weight and still wasn't happy with myself. So I ended up starting the South Beach diet, and that I was really successful with. And I remember even then I had these tricks that I did. Like I would look at food and tell myself, oh, you could have it later, but then never really having it later. And that was like a very big trick for me. Or I would look at the food and think, I'm stronger than that food. That was like the only like mindset pieces, I guess, that I did with myself. Other than that, it was just like, what can I eat? What can't I eat? What can I eat? What can't I eat? I did Weight Watchers, I guess in seminary, I did Weight Watchers, and then all through my single and into getting married, and then up until Beachbody, up until South Beach, I guess, I did the Weight Watchers. And it was just something I was doing. It wasn't something I never really did it. It was just something like, I did it because I should be doing something, so I did it. But I was never.
So Seema, along the way with all those diets, what then navigated you towards either the need to be looking for something else? Like, how did you then start with 2B when you first came across it? Like, what was engaging you in that starting that?
Yeah, fast forward, I guess South Beach, I stuck on like for my first 3 kids and then we made Aliyah, and then I had my 4th, and then after making Aliyah, my friend was in a Beachbody group, and it looked interesting. I was like, oh, I was already exercising. After my 2nd, I started exercising, and I was doing Zumba, but then we moved to Israel, and I was like, okay, worked out at home, sounds interesting. And so I joined her group, and they were a nice group, and it was like everybody was, sharing, and it was supportive, but nothing compares to this group. In any case, I was in that group in Beachbody, and I had my 4th, and then it was after I had my 4th that 2B came out.
2B came out.
Okay, let me try this. And I got the 2B mindset, and I learned it like I learned South Beach, like I learned Weight Watchers, like Slim Fast. It was like, here's what I do, and this is how I'm going to lose weight, and that's it. And you know, life was busy and life was hectic. And I thought, like, I know that I need some like mindset shifts, and kind of like figured I would pick up a few tricks like the push it off or I'm stronger than that. And I got maybe a few, and I was in this group and the group was starting to fizzle out. And at the same time, I had started following you and Lily on Instagram. And I was very drawn to like your inspiration and what you were saying, because what you were posting was like one level more than I had ever had, you know. And I was just like, wow, until I finally like got the guts to like to message you and ask you like, could you please be my coach? Like, could I join you? And that was it. I think you were hesitant at first, and then you you know, invite like whatever, and then I joined.
So up until that point, as you said, which I think is just an amazing thing to point out, is that to be, if you approach it like a diet with the, as Alana likes to say, diet, D-I-E-T, do I eat that? You can approach it like that. That might give you a good month or two, just like other diets.
Yeah,
you know?
I was doing that for a year. It's funny because I actually just went back to my trackers and I see like I was tracking, but I wasn't tracking. I wasn't tracking like I track now. I wasn't tracking like I started tracking when I listened to you and Lily talk about tracking. I mean, writing every little thing down. And all of a sudden, I think you were like this bridge. This group, I guess, also was this bridge between what Alana was saying and what actually like to really like understand and make it me, I guess. Like she would say all these things, but I didn't fully, or maybe I didn't hear it. I don't know how, like you like amplified it maybe, or like the group, I don't know what it is, but like, you know, when she writes, like, I don't know, just all her Alana-isms, like, just like were like, spoke to me, I guess. I don't know, maybe it was already like joining the group. I started watching the videos again and I started picking up on all these things, and you would, I guess, focusing on different pieces at a time. You know, getting the water in 3 by 3, all these little things really helps. I saw the shift in my journals, like when I really started pushing myself to finish the waters, you know.
What do you think was a mindset shift, as opposed to where did it go from diet to then approaching different things that were happening in life, you know, or different challenges that existed when you were approaching it like a diet versus when you were using some mindset change to deal with other things that were happening in life?
Right. So I guess I always like thought of myself, I always knew I was an emotional eater, or said I was an emotional eater. I didn't really understand what that meant until I delved deeper. I guess, yeah, I delved deeper a little bit within the group, and like, yeah, and like also listening to Ilana more, I realized that I am an emotional eater, and most of the time I'm eating, I guess it was like a few things compounded. I would start tracking more detailed, and I would see all the extra things that I was eating. Like, yeah, I had all my meals, and then I had like 4 dates, and then I went for chocolate chips like 3 times a day, like a handful of chocolate chips, 4 chocolate chips, 5 chocolate chips, and I'm like, what are all these? And then I realized, like, oh, that's where the emotional piece was like crossing in. Like, was I hungry? Like, why was I eating chocolate chips? And then it was like, well, I realized I was eating the chocolate chips when, you know, something was going on in the living room. So I would leave the living room to go, like, you know, there was like my kids or somebody were like, you know, fighting or whatever. So I would leave the living room and go into the kitchen and just like find myself in the fridge with like a handful of chocolate chips. Like, how is my kids fighting?
Right. That's an incredible aspect that I really want just to repeat and have people listen to. Tracking is a tool, but besides using the tracker, like you do, there are, when you, like you've said, Weight Watchers or other things or other apps when you're counting things or measuring, or I don't even know, I don't use them. But tracking here is also a tool, not just to write down your food, but to what Seema was saying, to write down why. When you're tracking and seeing things, that could be about the food, but you have all that space on the tracker to kind of also write, that was filling, or I'm still hungry, or I'm full, yet I still wanted something else to eat.
Right, like, so, I had hearts all over when I had a good meal and it was like good. So then I realized I better go have more of those heart meals where they're full and I feel good. And then I actually, like in June, just now, like I went I guess it's almost 4 pounds. Like since like the end of May, I was like, that's it. I'm gonna get away from that that safety.
No, right, the safety. And do you remember what else you changed? Or what you were willing to try, what you said? Sometimes we have the answers in us and we don't know. And I don't know if you remember, but Seema said to me, she's like, I know the breakfast that works for me. I know the lunch that works for me. Why am I avoiding consistency?
Right. So that's it. Like, then I realized like, hey, that's what right. And I was talking to you a few times also the try, track, and see. I think when we were talking, you said try, track, and see. And I was like, what's try, track, and see? How do you try, track, and see? I have like extra chalva and chocolate chips and dates thrown into my day. Like, well, was the scale up because of the chalva? Did it work because I didn't have, like, I was just too, until I stopped, I took away, like, then I, it was like, all right, because I didn't really need those. I didn't really need those. And if I really found those few good consistent meals, like my breakfast and my lunch, and then even my dinner became consistent, whatever, I don't know. Like,
how did you feel? A lot of people, I think when they approach us like a diet, feel more of those feelings of deprivation, right? Sometimes we feel, well, we're so limited and it's not fair that I can't have that. But so where did you, when we speak about to be not being a diet, but being about the mindset, what was going on inside your head when you then realized, well, I don't need the dates, or I don't need the chalva, I don't need the chocolate chips, as opposed to seeing it as, I can't have it because I'm on a diet, versus fill in the blank? Like, what changed their mindset-wise that made it?
The weekly calls come in, because you're one of the best, most consistent people getting on the calls. So where did the calls and the group itself really help you flip that switch?
So I think each call kind of, I sometimes you guys ask me like, what do you think we should discuss? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I know you guys have like a guide for yourselves maybe, but to me, all I hear is like golden information, like little bits and pieces here and there, just like, okay.
That's what Seema said to me. I asked her for like, you have an idea of this we talked about? She's like, every call is golden.
Yeah, like I feel like each Sunday night, I'm like, okay, this week it helps me focus, like, okay, this week I'm working, and it could have nothing to do, but it's just like, I feel like everything works together. And I think that the fact that you guys are constantly like working on yourselves and even the books that you're like working on and sharing in the group and quotes, and this one says this and that one says that, and it's like, it's so much more than just what you're eating. It's your mindset, and it's expanding your mind also. And and I don't feel deprived in what I'm eating. I'm really eating full meals. Like I enjoy green beans. I don't know, like Alana was saying something on one of her, I don't even know when it was, but she was talking about holding foods to like, do you know what I'm talking about?
From her audiobook.
From her book, right? And I remember thinking, whoa, yes, like I do hold the treats. Like, when could I get that treat? And then it's like, no, I hold my meals to be like, okay, each meal is going to be the fullest that I could be. Like the vegetables are going to be this. What accessory am I using? Accessory, I don't even know what I thought about it before. Like it's just also like, I don't know, it just all comes like bits by pieces. Like the treat not cheat piece was like huge for me, or the all or nothing. Like I just, all these little things like also like help. And then yeah, it's like all the little pieces come together. And then, right, so what I was saying is that you and Lily are constantly like adding more. And so it also helped me delve into myself more, and also my body image and all that I've been working on since December, which I don't even know what you said that sparked it, but it did. It like I picked it up somehow, like through like the calls, through something small, through a post, through a quote, through, I don't even know. I don't know. But yeah, so what else?
What about getting consistent with the workouts? That was definitely a journey for you.
Oh, huge, because I don't know, I had all these excuses, and I had excuses, and I had life, and I had this, and I had that. And listen, I'm tired now. I'm going to start exercising when we finish the call. Like I'll start at like 9 or whatever, and I'll go for, it's a 40-minute, whatever. But I just realized like once I start, and it just like propels it, because the consistency kind of like, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. And this constant like
How did the group help with that? Because some people are like, oh, I'm not a poster. I don't need to post my sweaty selfie. And sometimes it's hard to be able to explain to people who is it really for or not, but what it does in terms of accountability.
Right. So I feel, right. I get so bored of my selfies and like, you could barely see the sweats. I'm like, they're sweaty selfies. Can't see my sweat. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't post. But to me, when I open a feed and there's like one person exercise, another person exercise, another person exercise, another person exercise, another person exercise, everyone's exercising at different points of the day. They have different life stories coming from different places, but each one of these people took the time to do something in the exercise field. It just is inspiring also, you know, and I'm sure like I could come up with every excuse, you know, I have 2, 3 nightly, I'm sure, you know, that really.
Did 2B help? Well, again, when we keep on just talking about the mindset and the shift of diet to mindset, how did that affect your working out? Very often if we're not eating well, when we say, okay, but I'm still going to work out, or working out as a punishment, how does 2B and fitness work for you together?
So I guess okay. First of all, her positive people, positive mindset thing, I feel like is very like in my mind also. So I feel like, I don't know if it's her, like if it was 2B specifically, but the group in general, I lost my train of thought because somebody's whispering behind me.
Working out, the connection between 2B and fitness, and not about punishing yourself. I think you were going towards like non-scale victories, or
right. No, not even non-scale victories. To me, that it's also a treat to exercise. I get to exercise. It's not I have to exercise. I get to exercise now. And my sister was living with me for 3 months, and I saw that I don't know. She also like she helped me. I guess, I don't know if her life was like a simpler life. She was here, she was living by my house, she had her Zoom calls for seminary, but like, she didn't have so much. She didn't have to take care of her kids. She didn't have to put my kids to sleep. She didn't clean the house, all these things. And she just was like, okay, so when are we exercising? Great. Okay, great. And that was it. It was like, oh, it doesn't have to be so in my head. It could just be like, when am I exercising? I'm going to exercise, and that's going to be it. You know, that also helped me. Just like, yeah, just get rid of excuses, like not to.
Let's give it last one big area. What?
So you guys were amazing when you had to repeat yourself 3 times on that call on how you track your food, like your full plate and your small plate and the vegetables. And I'm like, she probably thinks I'm nuts, and I'm not. I'm just trying to like translate what you were saying on the call into my typical Shabbos meal. But I have to say that Sunday I am up. I go up on Shabbos, and
it doesn't matter.
I'm still tweaking it, but the weight that I was today was still less than I was last Sunday. So to me, I see the loss, you know?
Right. That's where we zoom out weekly. But so how has Shabbos changed, again, in the mindset kind of way, your approach to Shabbos or your approach to eating on Shabbos?
First of all, my whole menu changed a lot also. I feel like there's a big push for Shabbos to be this like huge elaborate meal. And that to me is like a very, I don't know, I don't know. It's like a very hard thing for me, because every single day I look at my food, my lunch, my dinner, my breakfast, and it's like my Shabbos lunch, the menu is like the same size as like 3 days put together for lunch. And I feel like it's this like, I don't know what it is, pressure or something. And then dessert has to be like, you know, cakes and cookies. And I don't know, I guess I've had to transform, and you know, not to say that we don't have brownies or cookies or something like, you know, sweet, but we've been having watermelon since it's been in season, and my kids love it. Nobody asked me, where are the cookies, Mom? You know, like once. So like, and then the food itself, I like really like had to zone into what my kids really want or need or eat on Shabbos, and not like make it this huge meal. And then at the same time, I could come to the meal and say, I'm having this, this, and this. And I started pre-tracking. And it's less about food and more about like the family time and the spending time together. And we don't have dessert every night. So Friday night we don't have dessert either, and they go to bed and it's fine. You know, like if my kids were older maybe and hanging out and playing games, so maybe I would cut up fruits and vegetables for them or something for late, you know, I don't know. But for now, like I've kind of changed how I look at my Shabbos meal to kind of make it a lunch and then singing, and everybody has a chance to talk and share, and fruit being the dessert. And I don't know. So to be specifically, I guess to also like plan my menu based on my plate it, you know, like I know my kids like potato kugel, so I give them potato kugel, but I don't also need orzo and I don't know what else, and I don't know what else that I used to make, you know? I don't know, I'll stop talking. I feel like I'm just going on and on and on.
No, it's fine. I think everyone can relate to so many different aspects. Shabbos is a huge topic for everyone.
What about a weight gain? How has your mindset changed around a gain?
So it's interesting because I have the opposite. To me, I have this comfort place, so I self-sabotage, I think. I have a fear when I see a new number on the scale, I get fearful. I have a fear. And so a weight gain to me is like almost like a comfort. It's a little not like, I don't know. But I've learned, she's shaking her head, I yell at.
No, because so many people can relate to it. I think it's a real thing.
It's like,
it is.
It's so
that whole idea, we discussed it a very long time ago. I believe Daria brought it up, and we brought this up in a discussion where you can lose a certain amount of weight and almost you then feel comfortable, like give it its due respect. You worked hard,
right.
Give it its respect, and then you're almost afraid of what living in another new number means. And that is something to, yes, you can be afraid of that, but that's pushing past that. If you do want to get past that, that's where the work comes in. Now it's getting outside your comfort zone and pushing past that fear of the unknown. Each thing becomes another new unknown. It's normal to be afraid of it. The question is how to go up against that, how to challenge that, how to embrace it.
Right. So I think the consistency compounds, and the consistency is key. Those things I hear you saying a lot. I don't know. I think that, like, just to me, I keep telling myself, like, that just keep going with what makes me feel good. And I've feel good with how I'm eating, with my consistent breakfast, my consistent lunches, my consistent dinners, and I'm not depriving myself. If I want to have a treat, then I really I really train myself, or have worked on myself, to really think before I eat. Am I sitting? Am I eating? I was cutting up a nectarine for my daughter, and it's so my like not even to think about, like just eating, like I cut it so then there's like leftover nectarine along the pit. And I just eat it because why not? And I'm like, why am I even eating this? So it doesn't go to waste? Like, what? It's not going, like, she ate her part. I don't need that nectarine right now. I'm not hungry. It's just, it's like, so these small things that I've learned really like help out a lot. I don't know where that just came from, because I don't know what you asked me.
No, that's
great.
You know,
huge.
so that's my little, and also I keep telling myself, because I'm getting to numbers that I've never in my life seen before. That's, you know what, in January I was sick for 3 days, and after I went on the scale, I was this number, and that's the number that I saw on Friday. And I was just like, and I remember seeing that number and thinking, oh, that's cool. And then just kind of going back up and being up for a little bit in the week, and then going back to my comfort weight. And then when I decided that's it, I want to lose more. I can lose more, and I want to lose more, and I will lose more. And I just keep telling myself that again and again.
My body wants to lose weight. My body can lose weight.
Right. I can lose weight. I will lose weight. I care to lose weight. And my body loves losing weight. And so do I. That's what she wrote in her book. I don't know where else she says it or writes it, but that's what that's what I tell myself. And so I saw that number, and I was wondering, why did I see it in January, and what was different how I felt in January do I feel like to what I feel now. And I realized that now I'm ready, I'm committed, I'm consistent, I'm more confident, I feel good. And I don't know, there's just so many little pieces that, like, just from January to now, I feel like my mind, my whole shift, like my whole being, like, has shifted because I'm working hard. It's not easy, and I do have to like block out the excuses to not exercise. I have to stop and think before I eat to see, do I really want this? Is this a treat? It's not a treat. Why is it a treat? It's mid-afternoon and I'm eating like, I don't know, 3 pretzels off the table. Like, why is this a treat? This is not a treat, so I don't eat it. And it just like to see the difference in myself and like to think like, I don't know, like I'm super
Do you
grateful.
feel like your confidence is different now? Your level of comfort with yourself. I found for me at a lower weight, and each time I have to go into a lower weight, I have to be really get comfortable with that level of being vulnerable to the world and to my kids and to things beyond my control and to situations. And each time I'm struggling to get into or stay in that set of 10 numbers, there is a level of control I actually sometimes have to surrender to just be myself in whatever situation is going to come up. I want to know if that was ever something you've seen when you talk about going to a comfort weight. Is it really a comfort, sense of distance between you and the world?
The comfort weight to me is just, I don't know. I don't know. I have to think about that. I'm gonna write that down to explore a little.
Well, I had a different question also in terms of, like you had said, in terms of treats, you do allow yourself treats, or do you need the treats or not? As time has gone on and with To Be Mindset, have you figured out or learned that treats don't only have to be food? Where did that come into play? Does that come into play with you or your kids? I find that's a big one. Things that I've gone over years, we were just so conditioned that a treat is food. Even the kids come home with something exciting to say, you're like, oh my God, that's so awesome. Let's go get ice cream,
Right.
or a reward. Where does that play in?
Yeah, I have to stop myself. I very often want to treat with food naturally for my kids, and I have to stop myself. I do find that certain things for myself. I started taking time for myself to read books. I finished Mel Robbins' book, the 5-second
rule.
Yeah, and I'm working on a parenting book now, Peaceful Parent, Happy Kids, I think it's called. I'm loving that. So these things that I feel like those things that I'm taking for myself, I guess the self-care, like those are my treats. I've also told myself that when I finish a program, I'll get a massage or a manicure or some kind of something like physical treat for myself. Like, I don't know, that's just how I matched it in my brain. And I feel like Motzei Shabbos, somehow, I'm working on this right now. Somehow Motzei Shabbos became my treat, but to myself, spend time, I guess, just myself. And I tend to eat treats then also. And I'm still shifting on how to like handle that, also because Motzei Shabbos is late. So then I end up staying up later and then I'm tired on Sunday and that's not a treat for myself. Like,
right. I love that. I love that point that right now you're struggling and working through another part. Like I said, this is not one of the things you figure it out and you're done. And now you figured out how to, different things come up all the times that you will have to face, that if it was just looked at as a diet, it wouldn't necessarily have an answer. But when you're working through the mindset side of it, then you will eventually, it will be working through it, but you will figure out how to handle every new situation that comes up.
Right. I feel like it's like food and my physical activity and my physical appearance and my like emotional state, like it all somehow combines with this To Be mindset. Because it's not that she talks about emotions straight out, but the fact that she touches on it, and I guess you guys are more in tune to it, so you bring it out more. I think that's what I mean by bridge. I think you bring these things out and you encourage the group to also, and there's conversation and there's more feeling in it and more investment, I guess, into it. So I think that's why this group is also amazing. Thank you.
This group is amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Does anyone have a question for Seema, for us, a comment, something that, yes, Rebecca, Becky.
Hi. Seema, I just want to say that I think I related to every single thing you said more than like anybody. I mean, everybody's always amazing, but like, and it was actually, I mean this in like a great way, that each one was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I should do. Yeah, of course I eat the middle of the nectarine after I'm cutting it. Why wouldn't I? But you're right. No, I shouldn't be eating that. And like literally every single point, I was like, oh, this is what my future self should do. So I really enjoyed hearing you talking about it. I was actually curious, what are your consistent meals? What do you love for your consistent breakfast, lunch, dinner? What's working?
So I'll tell you what's working for me. For years, since we moved to Israel, I should say, ate those yogurts, the small ones, the Danona, I think it's 150 grams. But my coworker, Rena, I don't know if she's on the call not tonight, she always had the 200 grams pro yogurts. And so I started buying those. And to me, that's a treat because they are a little more pricey if I'm being price conscious with food. When I find them, I started finding them on sale, so then I started buying them, and I find myself being fuller. And if you're into like the Wonder Whips, they're funner to work with the Wonder Whips. So I buy those. They're the 1.5% fat. This is the one I prefer. That's the yogurt. So it's like a nice amount of yogurt, and then I find that I can have a nice amount of fruit with it because it's 200. It's like that balance of the protein. So and then I have fruit. I'll have an apple, or I'll have a small banana, or half a large banana, or I'll have mixed berries. My sister-in-law sells frozen fruit, and mixed berries to me are like, I don't know, I found them at her Pesach. I got them from her, and I mixed that in with my yogurt. So generally that's like one of my, either I have that for lunch or for breakfast, but I really like that. To me, that's like a treat. I don't know how that became my treat, but it's a treat for myself. I enjoy it. And then I have eggs. I like eggs, all different types, hard boiled, scrambled, omelet. And I eat that with either my salad, like vegetable salad, or on slices of bread. Like today I made, I had 2 slices of bread, the open face is a happy face, she says, right? And I put an egg on each, an omelet on, like a little omelet on each with some vegetables on it. I use a little mayonnaise because that's one of my like favorite accessories, but I do measure because I use the full fat, whatever, tracked it. And then on a salad, or sometimes I have oatmeal. And I like to buy like I think Ayala, you started, I think I saw the bread from you, I think it's like the high fiber 30, it's like 38 calorie bread. It's like, I use the 100% spelt ones. I don't know, I just like it. I remember one time you posting bread, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I could eat bread. And I started buying bread. One day I had a tuna sandwich. I like tuna sandwich and lettuce, like vegetables. I don't know. I like tuna, eggs, like a white fish.
I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 second because we're out of time. I think one of the things that Seema is saying is she doesn't eat the exact same thing morning, noon, and night every single day. That's what is amazing. Consistency means it might be sticking to plate it for your meals. It'll be finding the things that keep you full, or that you see. I mean, Seema can't help but smile when she talks about mixed berries, like the things that make you happy and full and satisfied. I think that's so much of where consistency plays. You might find eggs, tuna, fish, those proteins work for you, or like, and not trying to cheat yourself. She wasn't trying to say it only works for me if I'm not having bread.
Right.
But again, try, track, and see what works for you. And
for our last minute, so I want to thank Ayala and Seema so much. And guys, this is amazing stuff that happens when you get on the calls live. I'm going to post the recording of this call in the picture. Start at Seema, if you don't mind going in the group and answering questions if people have questions that they post on the picture. And then I'll post the link probably in a few hours after it uploads. And it'll only be live, guys, for 7 days. So make sure that you ask some of your questions now in the group, and that you get on these calls live, because in 7 days, I'm going to start taking down the links to really help us. And we're going to start putting together worksheets for them as well. So it's really exciting. And it's an opportunity, like Seema said, these weekly